with us right now on the Splash Live, Director of the West Bloomfield Township Building, Planning, and Development Services Department, we have Amy Neary joining us first and foremost. I appreciate you for joining us, Amy. And can you explain the process your department follows for reviewing and approving building construction plans and renovations, especially with this new Tesla dealership and the Apex apartments being built?
Yes, hi, thank you for having me. So the township has, in my department, we pretty much manage the process from the beginning to where it is an idea and they come to us and ask a question all the way through construction. So the first part of the process for large projects like commercial or non-single family homes involves a site plan. Mm-hmm. So an applicant will come in and submit a site plan that will get reviewed by all the different departments, engineering, environmental, fire, planning and zoning for compliance with different codes and ordinances. From there, they will send that plan to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is the body that would review the plan for a large project like the Tesla dealership. Once that project is approved by the Planning Commission, then they will submit for permits through our department as well. So they will then submit their detailed construction drawings for engineering and building, which those plans will again be reviewed for compliance with all of our codes and ordinances and state construction codes and so forth before any permits will be issued. Once those permits are issued, they can commence construction on the project, and we will then do inspections during that process to make sure that the project is in compliance with all those previous approvals.
Okay, so it's a long process as we would expect. Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah, you spoke on it. No, I was saying like there's obviously a long, lengthy process, and you're doing your due diligence, crossing T's, dotting I's, make sure that there's no hiccup, measure twice, cut once type of thing. And I'm glad that we're doing that. Since we are on that topic with a few of the commercial developments, do you have any updates to share with the community or the residents regarding that new Tesla dealership and or the Apex West Bloomfield that's currently being developed?
Yeah, so both of those projects are very near completion. Tesla is looking to take occupancy in the next month or two. We just recently met with them last week to discuss kind of the final process for them to get in there and get their staff trained, get their IT equipment in, and what that process would look like. But they are both very close to the finish line. Same with Apex. Apex will be getting certificates of occupancy in phases for that building because it is so large, but they will likely within the next couple of months start moving tenants in as well.
That's exciting. That's exciting to see things being developed and occupied and moving forward right here in our own West Bloomfield community. Right here with us on the Splash Live, we have Director of the West Bloomfield Township Building, Planning, and Development Services, Amy Neary. Now, moving from commercial to residential, right? Now, can we just talk about zoning and permits when we are building? First and foremost, just talk about the difference between a zoning permit and a building permit for single family homes.
So for single family homes, a zoning permit is required for things that don't require a building permit. Those are simple projects like a fence, a shed. They are processed very similar to a building permit, but they're technically not a building permit. All building permits for like larger projects, a deck, an addition to your home, a new garage, any of those kind of things, they will be reviewed for compliance with zoning during the review process once you submit your permit application. But that's actually a different type of permit that we issue. But all permits are reviewed for compliance with zoning.
Is there like a specific timeline, a length that it takes to kind of get a zoning or building permit for a residential home?
So it really depends on the complexity of the project. We have some projects that might just be a garage. We have some that are 8,000 square foot homes. So it depends on the complexity of the project and the completeness of the plans that are submitted to the township. But for the most part, what I would call a non-complex project or not a large project will get reviewed in about 10 to 15 days. You'll get your first set of review comments. If everything's okay and we've had all the information we need, a permit can be issued. But sometimes revisions are necessary because not enough information was provided, or maybe something doesn't comply with one of our codes or ordinances, so a revision might be necessary. Larger projects that are more complex, that might involve more reviews, that or more staff review time will probably take about 30 days. And that doesn't include projects that will have environmental. So if any home comes in and you're looking to do a project in an area that's regulated, a regulated woodland or a regulated wetland, depending on that scope, that will increase the length of time, might be by a couple months if you have to go see the Environmental Commission to do the proposed work.
Okay. I have a quick question. Something that just came up. I think this is kind of important. Right here in our greater West Bloomfield area, are there any common mistakes or misconceptions that your department sees with permits, planning, and development that you would like to clear up now with our residents?
I think one of the, a common thing that happens, I think, is residents don't realize they need permits. So I would encourage residents to contact our department before they do any work, just to identify whether or not a permit is required. That's one of the bigger issues that we see and violations that we see. And, I'm trying to think of what else to say about that. Remind me of what you asked me in terms of the question, but I think that's the biggest thing that I want the residents to know is that you need permits. You need permits to do a deck. You need permits to do an addition, and make sure that you can submit complete applications. A lot of times we don't get all of that information from the applicant or the contractor.
Right. Yes. And that's essentially what we wanted to know right here, Amy. Just any additional misconceptions, mistakes that our residents right here in the greater West Bloomfield make when it comes to building, planning, or development services, residentially or commercially. But we do appreciate your time. I have a lot of questions I would love to dive deep into asking you, but we got to kind of let you go. Amy Neary, Director of the West Bloomfield Township Building, Planning, and Development Service. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.